इश्क में दिल बना है, इश्क में दिल फना है ओ, मिटा दे याद ना है, मैंने तुझको चुना है ओ, तेरे सारे रंग ओढ़ के तेरा हुआ मैं सबको छोड़ के ओ, करना गाँव को छोड़ के राज बोल के आया हूँ मैं सबको बोल के अमेरिका चले तेरी ओर तेरा चले तेरे जोर तेरा होया मेरे बोले यार संसार चले तेरी ओर तेरा चले तेरे जोर तेरा होया मेरे यार बोले यार संसार जब तेरे लिए जोड़िया मैंने तेरा सब जोड़िया अब तेरा मैं तो हो गया अब तेरे मेरा हो गया जब तेरे लिए जोड़िया मैंने तेरा सब जोड़िया अब तेरा मैं तो हो गया अब तेरे मेरा हो गया इश्क में दिल बना है इश्क में दिल बना है ओ हजारे यार वादे मैंने तुझको चुना है ओ दुनिया के भी इश्क दूर है बेकसूर है हमको तो दिल से दूर है ओ उसके दिल ना रखूर है एक सूर है तुम्हें अपना ये नूर है ओ अमेरिका चलिया तेरी ओर तेरा चलिया तेरे जोर तेरी कोई है यार बोले यार संसार चलिया तेरी ओर तेरा चलिया तेरे जोर तेरी कोई है यार बोले यार संसार काग काग सा है मेरा बेहिसाब सा है मेरे लफ्ज़ जो है उर्दू की किताब सा है इसके ख्वाब ख्वाब सा है मेरा बेहिसाब सा है तेरे लफ्ज़ जो है उर्दू की किताब सा है जब तेरे लिए छोड़ी इश्क में दिल बना सब छोड़ी इश्क में दिल बना है वो मिटा दे याद मैंने तुझको चुना है अब तुझ में खो गया
Thank you so much, Siri. It's a song with a very difficult lyrics, and she could sing all of it by memory. I think that deserves another round of applause. Thank you so much. Next, we have with us Aditya, who will also sing a song for us. Stand up. Stand up. Okay, we had some technical issues of giggles and shyness, so we shall attempt this again later. But a big applause for Aditya. Okay, next performance is by Gayatri and her friend Anusha will facilitate her performance. Gayatri is going to read out her poems. So the poem is called Sunrise by Gayatri Manohar. Not aware of a bright day, the hummingbird slept. Not aware of the rainbow, the gloomy sky wept. Not aware of the spring, the autumn trees withered. Not aware of the rains, the dried fields cracked. Hoping for magic, my new days passed. This is, we have another one. Uh, it's called I Have a New Dream by Gayatri Manohar. Over the years, you realized your dream was too far. You heard the cuckoo sing. You believed you too would. You saw the firefly glow. You were sure you too would. You saw the kite fly. You hoped you too could. The day dawned to reality, and you realized that you are not cuckoo, neither firefly, nor kite. You are here to live a life that is yours. Thank you, Gayatri, for the lovely poems. Thank you, Nusha, for reading them out. Gayatri also has an Instagram page where she's put a couple of her poems in case any of you want to read it. And they are lovely. So you must go and read them. A big round of applause for Gayatri again. The next performance is by Prajwal. Hello. Hara Hara Shambhu Shambhu Shiva Mahadeva Shambhu Shambhu Shiva Mahadeva Shambhu Shambhu Shiva Mahadeva Shambhu Shambhu Shiva Mahadeva कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भावं भावानि सहितं नमामि
सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि हर हर शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव सानन्दमानन्द धवने वसन्तम् आरम्भकन्दं विभवावृन्दम् सानन्दमानन्द धवने वसन्तम् आरम्भकन्दं विभवावृन्दम् वाराणसीनाथ ममनाथ नाथम् श्री विश्वनाथं शरणं प्रपद्ये वाराणसीनाथ मम नाथनाथं श्री विश्वनाथं शरणं प्रपद्ये हर हर शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव अवन्तिकाय वितावतारं मुक्तिप्रदाताय च सज्जनानाम् अवन्तिकाय वेदावतारं मुक्तिप्रदाताय च सज्जनानाम् अकालमेत्यो पर्यक्षराथं वन्दे महाकाल महासुरेशम् अकालमेत्यो पर्यक्षनाथं वन्दे महाकाल महासुरेशम् हर हर शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव नागेन्द्रहाराय वेणुचराय भस्माकराय माहेश्वराय नागेन्द्रहाराय वेणुचराय भस्माकराय माहेश्वराय नित्याय शुद्धाय दिगम्बराय तस्मै नमः शिवाय नित्याय शुद्धाय दिगम्बराय तस्मै नमः शिवाय हर हर शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव शम्भो शम्भो शिव महादेव Thank you.
Thank you for that lovely performance. I'm sure none of us could have sung it as well as he has. Can we give another round of applause for him for his enthusiastic thank you as well? Okay, before we move on to the next performance, I just want to announce again that we have some games and activities over here. In front of me, there's a sensory corner available on the left-hand side for kids to relax in case in between performance you want to move outside. There's also a YouTube link live for the panel discussion that will happen. In case you want to send the panel discussion to some of your friends, there's a YouTube link for that as well. And food, unfortunately, you have to order by yourself. Those are the announcements I was told to wait. Yeah, moving on to the next performance, we have Sura. Hello, hi. So I am performing my original songs, and I haven't done this in a long time. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. Yes. You know that one day we'll wake up and this love. You said you were thinking of the never of the sun. Never refuse my and when I couldn't see you only close and make your eyes. Never knew that one day we'll wake up and this love. You said you felt and thank you, thank you so much for your performance and for sharing that song with us. We did not have the idea that you have not performed it before. It looks like you performed it multiple times before. Thank you so much for sharing that wonderful piece of music with us. Uh, moving on to the next performance, can we have Vishnu?
तुम पास आए ना ना ना
यूं मुस्कुराए ना 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 तुम पास आए यूं मुस्कुराए तुम पे न जाने क्या सपने दिखाए तुम पास आए ना यूं मुस्कुराए ना हम में न जाने क्या सपने में आए अब तो मेरा दिल जाके बसोगा है क्या करूँ हाय कुछ कुछ होता है क्या करूँ हाय कुछ कुछ होता है तुम पास आए यूं मुस्कुराएगा तुमने न जाने क्या सपने में हारे अब तो मेरा दिल जागे बसोता है क्या करूँ हाय कुछ कुछ होता है क्या करूँ हाय कुछ कुछ होता है ना 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 जाने कैसा एहसास है कुछ भी नहीं है क्या कैसे है प्यार जास प्यार का कुछ भी धरा है जाने लगा कोई न जाने योजन होता है क्या कर रहा है कुछ कुछ होता है क्या कर रहा है कुछ कुछ होता है तुम पास आए यूं मुस्कुराए तुमने न जाने क्या सपने में आए पास आए यूं मुस्कुराए तुम पे न जाने क्या सपने आए अब तो मेरा दिल जाके बसोता है क्या करूँ हाय कुछ कुछ होता है क्या करूँ हाय कुछ कुछ होता है रंग लाई मेरी दुआ ये इश्क जाने कैसे हुआ पीछे डूबे से ना जाने क्यों आने लगा तन्हाई में दिल कैसे सजोता है क्या करूँ हाय कुछ कुछ होता है क्या कर हाय कुछ कुछ होता है तुम पास आए यूं मुस्कुराए तुम भी न जाने क्या सपने में आए तुम पास आए यूं मुस्कुराए तुम पे न जाने क्या सपने में आए अब तो मेरा दिल जाके वो सोता है क्या कर पाए कुछ कुछ होता है क्या कर पाए कुछ कुछ होता है ना 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 ना
Too fast. Thank you for the song, Vishnu. Can we have a round of applause for Vishnu? Just a small announcement. One of our panelists has got in the cases of getting stuck in Bangalore traffic, so they are on the way, and we'll be starting the panel discussion shortly. In the meanwhile, we have performance for Shreya and Netra. Can we have Shreya and Netra here for the song? Hello everybody, we are Netra and Shreya. We will first sing a devotional song on Ganesha. And then we will sing a fun song. Vatapi Ganapatim Vajeham Vatapi Ganapatim Vajeham Vatapi Ganapatim Vajeham Vatapi Ganapatim Vajeham Varanasyam Varanasyamparadam Shri Varanasyamparadam Shri Varanasyamparadam Shri Varanasyamparadam Shri Vatapi Ganapatim Vajeham Bhutadisam Sevita Charanam Bhutabhuvika Prapancha Varanam Bhutadisam Sevita Charanam Bhutabhuvika Prapancha Varanam Bhutadisam Sevita Charanam Bhutabhuvika Prapancha Varanam Vitarakinam Vidatayoginam Vitarakinam Vidatayoginam Vishnakaranam Vitnavaranam Vitarakinam Vidatayoginam Vishnakaranam Vitnavaranam Vatapi Ganapatim Vajeham Varanasyamparadam Shri Vatapi Ganapatim Puratum Vasambhava Munivara Prapujitam Trikonamadhyagatam Puratum Vasambhava Munivara Prapujitam Trikonamadhyagatam Murari Pramukadyupasitam Muladhara Kshetrasitam चत्वारि पादात्मकं प्रणवस्वरूपं वक्रतुण्डं प्रणवस्वरूपं वक्रतुण्डं निरन्तरं निखिलचन्द्रकन्दं निजवामकरविदुते सुगन्धं कराम्बुजपाशबीजापुरं कलुषविदूरं पूताहारं हररिपुरगुणतोषितबिम्बं हंसध्वनिभूषितहेरम्बं कराम्बुजपाशबीजापुरं कलुषविदूरं पूताहारं हररिपुरगुणतोषितबिम्बं हंसध्वनिभूषितहेरम्बं वापि गणपतिं भजेऽहं बालया सौभाग्यप्रदं श्री वातापि गणपतिम् Now we can sing a fun song for all of you. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in a cave. He's an no swimming pin in this octopus's garden in a shade. I want my friends to come and see. I'm octopus's garden with me. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in a shade. We would be warm below the ground in a little hideaway in the bay. On the seabed in an octopus's garden near a cave. We would sing and dance around because we know we can't be found. I like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in a shade. We would shout and swim about in the corners at night beneath the red light. The ocean waves overjoyed for every colored coin, knowing that they're happy and they're safe. And they're safe. We would sing, we would sing. No one dares to tell us what to do. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden with you. In an octopus's garden with you. In an octopus's garden with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for both of your performances. Shreya and Netra,
Thank you for bringing both fun and devotion to our AIF stage. Next, we have with us Pranav, who will also sing a song for us. Can we have Pranav? Just a heads up, after Pranav, there is Sana's performance. Thank you, Pranav, for helping us feel peaceful. Can we have a round of applause for Pranav? Next, we have Sana.
Today we are going to have some fun. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Sana, for that lovely performance. Next, we shall give another round of applause for Aditya for coming back on the stage. Let's give it a try, Aditya.
Can we have a round of applause for Aditya? So that brings us to the end of the open mic performance which were registered. Are there any other children or adults who would want to perform on the stage? Um, if you want to think about it and let me know, you can let me know. We will take a short break here for our panelists to come and speak here. So anybody who's up for a performance, just let me know.
We have all our panel members here, so I'll just introduce all the panel members one by one. In the meanwhile, I'll request them to come and sit here. Right. So first we have Raju Behera, who's the moderator for the event. Raju Behera, she oblique they are their pronouns, a trans-disabled MTSR certified peer support provider, mental health first aider, comes with a decade of healthcare experience and an educational background in health policy and pharmacology. Aligned with the Safe Access Community Wellbeing Program, she has contributed to the LGBTQIA plus safety in Indian workplaces, drafting gender-neutral dress codes and working on multiple modalities of sensitization. She is also the founder of a pure trans artist MPH collective, Piragi Art Community, that uses art, poetry, and storytelling to speak about issues that impact the lives of health and lives of pure trans individuals and communities. A published author, poet printed cohort nominee of Indian LGBTQI change makers and poet in various anthologies. Through equal fellowship, they chronicle social histories of housing, healthcare, and workplace discrimination for queer trans individuals in India, further deepening their practice through SAMHI, and initiated by Anjali MHRO Kolkata. She initiated Queer at Quarantine, a crisis intervention program for trans folk facing housing challenges. She's also recently published her work from redefining queer spaces at the Gender Sexuality Law Roundtable as a panelist at Socio Legal Studies Association Annual Conference, Portsmouth 2024. Thus explore the work which she has carried out so far in the Queer Judgment Project. Building on other similar projects, the QJP, the Queer Judgment Project, reimagines, writes, reinvents from queer and other complementing perspectives, judgments that have considered social issues by bringing together a global group of scholars and activists. Welcome, Jackie. Uh, Next, I welcome Rachel. Rachel examines patterns between caste, sexuality, gender, neurodivergence, intergenerational trauma, and disability in their work. Z is an advocate for recognizing the complexity of identities in marginalized groups with specific focus on Dalit people. Z is a Dalit, non-binary, neurodivergent, autistic person. Z established an independent discussion group whose premise is to be decentralized while taking into consideration all marginalities called Savitri Bisra, Ambedkar Malcolm, Kanchivaram Ansari Veeramal, SPAMKAV in IIT Gandhinagar. SPAMKAV was established as a decentralized reading group working as a collective towards community well-being instead of supremacist, traditional, patriarchal defined ideas of leadership. He also moderates the single WhatsApp group, STEM, the first autistic support group espousing anti-caste values and a diverse group of people, including region, language, sexuality, and gender. I welcome Rachel to the panel. Next, we have Ananya. Next, we have Ananya. Ananya is a dedicated counseling psychologist with a strong commitment to transparent communication, self-improvement, and empathy. Their pronouns are they, he, she. They have a MSc degree in counseling psychology from Christ, Deemed University, and a bachelor's degree in psychology, sociology, and English from the same university. He operates from a politically left-leaning approach, valuing people's experiences and where they come from, the context that makes them who they are and who they want to become. Their adaptability and eagerness to learn drives them to continuously seek new experiences to enhance their professional skills and personally connect deeply with people from various places. She dreams to live in a world where people are kind to each other, but most of all to themselves. In their free time, they enjoy being a social butterfly, freestyle dancing, singing, playing with dogs, and obsessing over fan fiction, as we all do. Welcome Ananya to the panel. Last, I welcome Nidra. Nidra Purple Singalai is a 30-year-old gay, them, and shroom self, trans, polyamorous, and asexual is our neuroqueer person. We have a master's in psychology, certified level 1 clinical hypnotherapy practitioner, expressive arts therapy, and she's currently training in narrative practices. Shroom has been actively practicing counseling and research since 2017. Their work as a counseling psychologist and artist is devoted to creating queer polyamory, kink affirmative spaces and expression, where they look at the nuances around intersections of religion, caste, neurodivergence, and social justice. Welcome, Vidya, to the panel. I hand over the mic to Raju to moderate the session, and the panel members will use the mic to share among themselves. I would also request everyone to be mindful of the panel discussion that is going on so that all of us can listen to them quite closely. Thank you, everyone.
So hi everyone. So apologies for the whole stimulation part. I think the whole is sort of very overstimulating generally to manage. Um, so yeah, you might stumble or something. So firstly, this is a panel on diversity, on queer and neurodiversity. Uh, with that introduction, I'll directly jump on to the first question. Um, So the first question is for all the panelists. Your experiences intersect with other aspects of identity, such as caste, gender, and sexuality. How can we address the unique challenges faced by European individuals who belong to marginalized communities? In addition to that, could you also shed light on how this language is from impact the self-identity of European individuals coming from diverse intersections and how can we navigate to a more affirming vocabulary? Yes. Hope everyone had the question.
Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm a bit overstimulated because it's sort of noisy, so excuse if I stutter or any of the other things that's common to neurodivergence. So the first question being how to within queer identities, how much of intersections play a part. And this is something that even within my work, I've looked at it for over a decade, and we don't have that many studies which look at caste especially, right? Because so many of the psychology work that happens, psychiatrist work that happens, do not consider caste as an essential factor. It's not even taken as a variable. And but most of the places that field work happens within institutions like this or any of the other social institutions happen within busties because they are the most accessible, right? But in terms of categorization also because we don't know within Dalit, within Adivasi, within OBC communities how they are separately placed. Uh, so as usual, the way that we look at it is to look at like black identities. And I was just looking up a 2024 study which now said that the incidence of autism and ADHD is higher within white children. Now, this is a stark change from 2010, where there was a peer review which said that the incidence is higher for black children and Latinx children. And the only difference that they've mapped this out to is to say that there is some change in the way that scaling is happening. There's some change in the way that we're looking at questionnaires or survey itself, right? And we still don't have, for example, for adult autism, adult ADHD, we don't have an Indian scale that measures, that is being validated for the Indian population. So when we go as someone with adult autism, we're still looking at US scales. So then even within, like, for example, like language, this is, I mean, I'll finish it with this. Um, the most challenging aspect is how do you talk to your parents when you're talking about careers? How do you mention this? You can't just say not primarily. This is the same challenge that I have had, and so many of the people that I know I have. And so with Tamil Nadu, because it's been at the forefront of so many of these legislations, we have words like Tirunangai, Tirunai, and Tirunambi. And one of the recent things that I heard was from Marathi that they said that it was Tritiya Kanti, which is the third gender. But their suggestion is to make it part Kanti or something like that. And this is also the root of this word, like par I was looking at, and apparently in Marathi it means beyond. But par is also something that is other. Like the root is also present in Tamil, like par to mean other. So in so many languages we fall short of having words that describe our own identities, and then with autism and ADHD there is absolutely no equivalence at all. And when you put all of these together, you're reduced to an English language which is so insufficient to for our identities. So, yeah.
A lot of the points that have been covered. Like recently, one of my friends, they had gone for a diagnosis of ADHD. They were hoping that they would get a diagnosis for ADHD, but when they went there and the whole little test process happened and everything, the result that came out was more on the anxiety side of things. And it was kind of like a shock for them, but they were also trying to rationalize by saying, okay, we have one thing that they can, deal with and with that kind of take about it out. On the other hand, there's also neurodivergence aspect of it, of their entire life, that they sort of try to understand about themselves. And that's not being addressed. I mean, there's all these gaps that we about, these are all like response-centered tests, and there are not any ethical-centered tests. And within among individuals, there's so much variety, there's so many factors to consider. You can't just say, okay, you have met these symptoms and this is the duration for you are this. But that doesn't work out for a lot of us. If you come from a different cultural, social, economic, political backgrounds, right? So I'm just like in this space where I'm constantly questioning myself, questioning where I come from, talking to my friends, to people I meet, what are like some more languages that are spoken like from your and stuff, right? If you're trying like to find words or make up words and then be more inclusive, be more, like just kind of inculcating all of those activities we come from, And I don't have any definite answers as of yet, and I'm not studying like thinking about myself and everything. But yeah, I'm just glad that we're having a conversation around it and spaces like this.
European experiences intersect with other aspects of identity, such as caste, gender, and sexuality. How can we address the unique challenges faced by European individuals who belong to marginalized communities? And in addition, how does language and terminology impact the self-identity of European individuals coming in from these diverse intersections?
Um, I'll talk about it from the perspective of a therapist and also a client. This sort help from psychiatrists and other therapists. Um, I offer a wellness assessment to all my clients instead of a diagnosis. I offer a wellness assessment instead of a diagnosis, and the wellness assessment have 70 dimensions. So, for some clients, we finish the assessment within 1 hour, and for other clients, I finish the assessment over a period of a year because that's how much they wanted to share when I was discussing each dimensions. And I think the first question is to understand what their religious or spiritual identity is. And the second one is gender and sexuality. And as we move through this assessment, the neurodivergent ways in which they have developed the concepts and then transformed these concepts with what they gain while interacting with humans, other humans, spaces, show up very early. So then, most of my clients are queer, and some of them are self-identified, some of them have gotten diagnosis, and are also on medication. I think the biggest challenge is language because in Malayalam I don't know how to say I'm neurodivergent, and the moment I have to do that, I have to use an English term, and to my mother it really makes sense. And I also have been part of other events like this where all of them are collectively talking about how we can notice these traits in our families, but they don't have access to the language or the information. And how stigmatized it is because of which they don't want to own that language of I have ADHD or autism. Um, and at the same time, from the queer perspective, there's a lot of history that I was unaware of up until last year because I was being translated for a you know, queer short film. And the translation was happening in Malayalam, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, Marathi, sorry, Bengali, and Hindi. So I was at a loss for words, but I didn't have to do the Malayalam translation. I was doing the Kannada translation, and I knew a bunch of journalists who were already working towards understanding what terminologies are now appropriate to be used. There was a time when in Calcutta, within the queer community, especially the trans women, we call each other quotas, and there was an illusion where people from certain caste location did not want to go by certain purpose. So they started calling themselves Mangalam. Mangalam is to say beautiful, welcoming, and Mukhi is face to say that as well as transferring, if you encounter us, your day has been blessed. And now there are transferring coming from those caste locations who do not want to take that name and call themselves transferring because they want to be a part of other women they are working with. So there's a history or that evolution that's happening because we are constantly evolving in this space. So I think that's what I wanted to share in terms of language. And when I'm talking to people in Kerala who are part of pride circles or peer circles, we talk about how we have lack of language. For pride, when we translate the literal translation is ahangara, which means arrogance. That's not what pride is. And so what we end up using the same word. Whereas I was very surprised by doing the translation. I saw that Tirunagai and Tirunavri, I was so happy that in Tamil that I could use that particular word for myself if I wanted to, but I don't have that language in Kannada or Malayalam. And so I'm happy to say I'm transnational. So yeah, there's a lot of diversity in that sense. And I think we're constantly evolving.
Just quickly taking, I would want you to correct that the word for Marathi, the suggested word is path.
So thanks for sharing all of these insights, Steve. Uh, in terms of also looking at my interactions with language and also understanding where does transform the identity intersect with their intersect with their vocabulary. In Andhra Pradesh, where I grew up, using Telugu, we don't really have vocabulary to even speak about ADHD, autism, without stigmatizing ourselves. And it's something that recently learned in narrative practices is that while we do not use the symptomatic terms, right? You could also think about using things such as overstimulation, stimming. We have words for these. The fact that these are not as stigmatized as the other vocabulary that you're so used to thinking. But again, the access to these words is something I'm very curious about because each community also uses different forms of therapy, and that's also very important. to understand how the utilization of Telugu in one song is again stigmatized in another space, and how caste plays very closely. And this is something that I was made aware of very recently. Owing to my own Savannah identity, I've never been able to explore these conversations before. But I think it's important to also reflect on the fact that there's so much guidance in vocabulary that needs to be also, like highlighted. Um, and I feel it's important as Savannah folks who are in the audience also to think and reflect on how are we, like working towards that vocabulary. Are we also still continuing to use words which are stigmatizing, words which are violent, and are we propagating the violence or is it different? Because I do not have a word for myself as a non-binary person. There's only one word called Teragado. And Teragado is a slur. The fact that Teragado also means two-faced, non-binary was the only way that I could find a word for myself. Because it sounds non-binary, sounds so. I want to use some word that doesn't even resonate with me. So reclaiming this word in therapy, like how queer was reclaimed from a historic context. And it's important to also know did the stigmatization originate in this context as people coming in from that specific marginalization as well. Yeah, and thanks for also talking about the other intersections of class and gender together. So with that, we'll move to the next question. Um, in what ways do your individuals experience bodies differently? Could you please shed any light on experiences of the individuals living with CPTSD in your practice or in your lived realities? Uh, so, in the other way around? Yeah.
We have to do this first
Sure.
one, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, queer bodies, so essentially European individuals experience their bodies differently. Could you also speak in light of CPTSD and survivors of that violence? What does it look like?
Okay. So this is both lived experiences and those of others who I lived with. Some of them are my friends, some of them are my close family, and others mostly my clients. Um, I think I've given instance. There was a friend of mine who wanted to try feminine clothes, and I had a bunch of them that I wanted to give away. Um, but the fact that they were not comfortable with those clothes, even though they could access that clothing, um, was very unsettling for both of us. And also the idea of uh, maybe hosting a space where all the trans folks who no longer want to use their clothes, giving it to somebody else who might be open to just experiencing being in those clothes was something that we opened up and we tried that. And we also realized what we like and what we don't like without having to pay for it. Because money is a very important aspect of how you then get to explore your expression of your gender. Um, and a lot of people, when they start off figuring, questioning their identity, uh, they often are in a lot of self-doubt. So what if I wear feminine clothes? That doesn't make me a trans person, right? Um, and with respect to CPTSD, a lot of people do develop sensory issues in terms of auditory and tactile sensations. And this shows up even in therapy sessions. So I still remember as a therapist, I was starting to unmask because I was doing therapy. And I realized I can't look at the screen all the time. So I told my client, do you think it will be okay if I'm crocheting or I'm making art while I'm also making notes and listening to you? Because it accommodates all my ADHD, but at the same time it allows me to still and ground myself. And because I practice expressive arts therapy, we both sometimes engage in art, creating art. And so, as a facilitator, also it interests me. Uh, and there's an emphasis on uh, how people experience pain uh, and rest in this context. There's so much tension about having to take rest. There is this idea that you're not able to focus on something, you're not able to get it done, so you're lazy. I think the first thing I had to edit from my dictionary was remove and throw the word lazy away, and then replace it with uninterested, unmotivated, and that's constant reminding of this to the client. Because they're like, yes, I do want to unmask, but at the same time, are we in an environment that welcomes the unmasking, that affirms that even if you are unmasking, you hold space for you, and we often don't have access to those spaces. Maybe a therapist can offer that space. Maybe a group therapy session can offer that space. If you find the chosen family, they can offer you that space. But all of that comes with so many hurdles, right? So yeah, this is one thing I wanted to share it with respect to what you have asked.
Um, so I come from a defense background, which means that I have lived in a lot of other places all around India. And coming from a defense space, there is a very set like structure, rules that you have to follow in terms of what you're wearing, how to present yourself, what you're saying, your body language, the words you're using, everything is kind of scrutinized and criticized. And I remember, so like in class 11 was when I was first, sitting after myself, exploring things out of myself. And we used to talk about like detachable body parts and stuff, right? And that time it was just jokes, just light jokes, okay? And it is, I didn't realize that I was talking about something much more deeper that I resonated as I grew up and how I've now come to embrace my non-binary identity and how I kind of I always want to construct things that I have grown up learning and just question myself, okay, this is not how I have to live my life anymore. I don't have to pretend so much. I don't have to, suppress my emotions. I can express myself. I can talk about things that I could not, how could never talk to my parents about, right? And what Miller talked about, this word lazy. So it's this word that kind of brings you down, kind of makes you self-hate, self-doubt. At least for me, that word has a very negative connotation. And for sister as well. And like I also have I just graduated with a master's in counseling psychology and have been through trials and we've been discussing what rest means to us, what laziness means to us, what productivity means to us, and we've just together just discovered so much that rest is so productive, right? And that revelation when it first came to me was so beautiful. There was this like eye-opening, life-changing revolution. And just and like the first question, the language that we're using is so important in our mother tongue, in English as a global language, just having words to express ourselves, to know what we really resonate with and resonating with multiple people and not just like one person, two person, but having a community of people that you can talk to about these things is so important. So,
So with respect to complex PTSD, I think it's also how we have a certain way within psychology of diagnosing this and pathologizing this particular aspect. Right? Like even with depression, you have about 6 months to look at all the symptoms and then give a diagnosis. And what happens in the 6 months? What is the person going through, and what is the medicines that you are recommending for them? And the psychiatrist is always the most inaccessible person. Even like I started taking therapy when I was about 15, 16. I'm 33 now, and the psychiatrist is still the most inaccessible person for me because in cities, and I've lived in like most of the tier one cities, and in cities it's about 4,000, 5,000, and I think the most affordable one is about 1 lakh. someone who is taking about 500 rupees, which recommendation of a therapist that I was seeing who works with autistic kids and who somehow also is upper caste but works within the intersection of caste and gender. Um, and therefore they were able to do it. But I know so many people, even within my own community, they are not able to find therapists. And for example, one of the most simplest things, because I've done it non-binary, autistic. So I was trying to find a therapist who was within all of the identities, who was just little older than me because I had this idea that someone younger than me because there are a lot of young therapists now that they might not be able to understand the complexity of the experience. But I wasn't able to find anybody. And I have like a list of a crowdsourced list so that the therapist and everyone is younger. So when you look at complex PTSD, it's also not that you have a site of trauma, but there's also secondary victimization that constantly happens. For example, even the spatiality, like a space like this could be traumatic for so many people from a marginalized background because these are spaces that causes trauma, the spaces where you go to any university. Those are spaces for trauma. But with CPTSD, you somehow just look at only trauma, sexual violence, abuse, and all of these things you've seen that you read in the papers and you think like, wow, how is this happening? And it seems very far away. But CPTSD need not be that far. It can be very, very close to you. It can be something that happens at your own home. It happens when you go outside. Somebody when you are taking an auto, public transport. But these factors are not looked at because marginalization itself is so, taken in such a small way within discourse that it becomes like a factor that you just look at and then you can look at all the other factors. So another thing was how does it feel to live in bodies as neuro? It's crazy to me because one of the most like simplest thing that I saw was this was a reel, and this reel had somebody who went to like a flower market, who's this and had this drag persona, and they were talking, and it became like this whole conversation on social media. And this is not about the person. This is just that when you go to spaces where marginalized people live, and you have a different persona, and then you're thinking about why is someone staring at me. Um, Now, access to clothes and fashion and a way to present is also limited because you already have a certain way that if you are a marginalized person, even with your looks, this sort of profiling that when we think about black people is something that happens here, but we don't know how to even look at it. So it then becomes that when you're as a Dalit person or an Adivasi person, when you're also looking at how can you challenge the norm with respect to fashion and gender, it becomes additionally complex. Um, so it's complex to just, I think, like live with most of these identities and yeah, take this.
Thanks for sharing your individual lived experiences and also your experiences in your practice. Uh, as someone who was shuffled through so I come from a small town. I speak both from my experience both as a user and also as a research practitioner and psychologist, right? So in terms of my lived experience, I came from a tier 2 town, so access to therapy only happened after I settled down in Bangalore. And only after I had enough resources financially to afford a therapist. While now I think there's a huge conversation on Instagram. We have crowdsourcing this and everything. At the time I came from, I had to pay 2,700 for my therapist, where, or I could go for, I remember my first ever conversation with my therapist. My expressive arts EAP, Employee Assistance Program. was so bizarre because she's never worked with queer clients before. I was reaching out in terms of a really severe distance. She didn't know what to do. She was like, okay, we can explore this together. And to hear this from someone you're receiving care, saying that, like she's almost sounding as if I'm a guinea pig now. And, like that she would be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which she doesn't know. And she's actually coming in from this heteronormative case. Um, and, like, barely transness of non-binary identities. So, like further caused harm. And then I moved from one therapist to another. And, the journey has been largely very isolating because you come from a space. I'm also 33 years old. So I come from a generation where therapy is stigma.
So sorry about that. Just close to finish.
Hello. So yeah, I was generally talking about um, therapy. Yeah. So that whole idea of cost of therapy itself is a huge question. And like, are we able to afford it? And is a therapist fair from it? Should we continue? It was so it's really talking about access to therapy and how
Continue with the conversation. Over to you, panel members.
So thanks. I think I'll probably not add more to that answer. Generally, access to therapy being one largely intergenerational conversations about access to therapy also becomes a huge conversation here. And therefore, the trauma that sits in our bodies is not ours individually, but also coming in from generations of the past. And as trans bodies, I'm also very curious about where do we inherit this generational trauma again. It's always been a very curious question for me. I'm also in that same line of thought, when we were talking about the vocabulary used and how it stigmatizes, the fact that mental health practitioners, like marginalized quote of Dr. Aksa, which I also have to share again, and the fact that how many of like maybe psychiatrists probably, but how many medical practitioners would have seen a trans body on an operating table? Do they know what to do with it if they are all given like a trans body on an operating table, right? So the idea of bodies sitting operating table itself is such a violent exercise here. And we have to disembody ourselves in order to engage in this critical conversation of do we even have healthcare that offers us safety in psychiatry largely. I've been chronicling stories of healthcare violence for BDM, and one of the most common observations I've seen is the violent misgendering and forcing people into their assigned genders at birth, right? In a psychiatric ward, where they are, kept for years or sometimes months. And this wrongful, I feel the word to be used is incarceration in psychiatric institutions in the name of care is something that all of us need to critically think about in this time and era when we have so much of change happening. Why is it that we still have to, not think about these critical questions and not much work is done in that space as well. So, yeah, in that light, to move to the next question. How do European individuals navigate relationships, romantic and platonic? What unique communication styles and methods arise in European connections?
What first came to my mind when you asked the question is how, if you're a female, what it is you do, uh, starts exploring my curiosity and always questioning, is this real, is this real, is this real? And then I have friends who are lesbians, who is looking at another person and is clearly interested in talking to that person, but will always be waiting for that person to come back and talk, which will never happen. And maybe years later, when we again come back to a circle and they have one person in common that they can talk to, is when they realize that they can actually sit together and have a conversation. And also in certain spaces, what I have seen is that uh, how spaces are created for people to socialize and how those spaces are gated because of class difference, accessibility, just basic cities altogether. Um, so I think for me, like being polyamorous, I also realized that caste plays a really important role because even if I was dating a Savarna person, there were certain things that they just wouldn't be able to understand about my neurodivergence, even if they are neurodivergent themselves. And uh, a lot of times it became easier for them to break up with me because they knew that they would have a safety net to fall back on. But that breakup would come with a huge consequence for me because I do not have similar safety nets. And I think a lot of queer people then end up, queer people end up accessing space that are unsafe for them because they have no choice because they have to pick what they get in that moment. So, in terms of attraction, whether it is platonic or romantic or sexual, uh, each person has their own journey. Some of them, I think, like asexuality is really not spoken about in many spaces. And the idea that because someone is asexual, they don't want to have sex is like the biggest misconception. Right? Also, in the context of visibility and being neurodivergent, can we really assume that our children who are going into teens and then adults do not have sexual needs? How are they able to address these things? Can parents have these conversations? Do they talk about romantic interest? How do you take them, kind of encourage your child to pursue it? These are all important questions that came up for me in my curriculum back in 2015 while I was studying psychology. But it was still not talking about caste locations, it was not talking about caste location, it was not talking about religious background, because I also work with clients who are Muslims and who are now sitting and trying to understand that that is caste divisions within that religion also, which I was unaware of until this person spoke about it. And now we have internalized Islamophobia. And there was a person I heard someone say that I, as a Muslim person, has internalized that I don't like to engage with certain other Muslim people from my community because they come from a certain caste. And children do not have access to information a lot of times. They are guided by what their parents ask them to practice. They're punished actively if they do not practice it, which is also again going to contribute to the CPTSD we're talking about. So I think that neurodivergent and CPTSD kind of eventually end up going hand in hand in that sense. Yeah.
So I think for me, I have grown up learning that there is also a relationship hierarchy. Like where say family comes first, your side family comes first, your friends come next, your romantic relationships come next, and then your marriage. Because what is my influence all of this have to be? But no, now I am more focused on like relationship anarchy of like moving from a positive to an anarchy, right? Where first I used to think, okay, so I'm polyamorous and I like a polyamorous life, but that I came to realize how I'm excluding other people who are also part of it. The space that I feel intimate and feel safe with the people that I want with. So I recently discovered the word anarchy, which basically is like a network of people, of communities that I am engaging with actively, right? And that word has made more sense to me. So breaking it down, breaking it down for relationships, right? And how I have seen people where, like hierarchical, I would say, where they put the romantic ones first, maybe sexual later, and then platonic at the bottom. And that has just never necessarily not my life. Friends have become one concept. People got each of like one case, another, and have broken friendship, made friendships, broken friendships, made friendships. And the concept of friendship, companionship has been a constant issue, right? So that has become like a very integral part of who I am and who I resonate with. Right? So in that regards, for me, romantic and platonic don't have like a specific category. It is all the same to me as long as we are mutually like talking about what we want and what we get from this space that we are in together. That's what matters more. So we, my friends and I, my partners and I, everybody plays like make closing or calling each other anything and everything. We call each other husband, wife, mate, partner, finally, lover, boy, everything and anything. And that is just feel living, and that has made me feel so like affirmed in who I am and us that in this important ourselves and each other. So yeah.
I just wanted to add one more thing. My hyperfixation is to look at new terminologies, try to understand whether it applies to what I'm trying to learn. And I found the word nebula romantic, which fit what I experience. Because when I connect with, let's say, somebody on a dating app, I'm not really sure if I'm attracted to the person. And I don't know what kind of interaction I'm experiencing. Sometimes I cannot experience an interaction until I've met the person in person, not online, in person. And I've also seen how the attraction changes over a period of time. So instead of calling it a relationship, now I call it a wavership, which is also a term I came by. And it happens because I'm nebula romantic, because my neurodivergence guides how I interact with others. So yes, maybe I saw someone and I might have felt like, oh, this might be someone I could be romantically involved with. But after I've had certain experiences and I see how both neurodivergence go together, then I might realize maybe it's better to be friends. So let's be a platonic connection. And so not definitively saying that, oh, this person is going to be my sexual partner or romantic partner or platonic relation and letting it take its own time. So it's a way version. And I've had like multiple people over the past 5 years who were my partners, are still my friends, and maybe again get back into that position where they can be an ST partner who lives with me. So there's that fluidity in the way I hold relationship with each individual that I think again is very, very neurodiverse.
I just want to add some thoughts because I'm forgetting. So one interesting question that I also sit with. So typically sustaining relationships and like the idea of monogamous relationships. And I believe that my love is monogamous, which puts me to a lot of questions again, wherein I'm navigating, as a panromantic person, which is a label that I again recently discovered for myself. Like as a non-binary person, what would I be attracted to? So would I be female or what you call myself cis gay or trans gay, trans queer? All of these terms. But how does the attraction literally work with the other person? Since my identity is non-binary at all. Then I came to the understanding of pan-romantic identity here, and also I've largely been asexual for like all of my life. And there was so much of guilt in the earlier years. And like I said, because asexual people somehow do not have common something, I don't know. Like the whole amount of violence I underwent in the early years of having lived as an asexual person. I think that also leads to see PTSD and then the idea of relationships again and how you are just put away from all of these thoughts. And I think this is intrinsically tied to neurodivergence because of the fact that I think almost every breakup of mine almost always have this conversation about, Raj, you have two neurodivergent for me, so I can't do it. Like in different ways, in different capacities. The vocabulary might have been different. One person is too late for the dates, another person is not available to come in for the time. Like all typical neurodivergent communication problems, which have already, like sort of blatantly put forth very upfront to the beginning. But it doesn't really change the lived realities. And of course, along with that, there's a class, there is the fact that I'm not a dietary tower, and that I also have different other, fatigue and so many other things. So I feel that as a person, uh, I really love the idea of mycelia, because the idea that all of us are in a network. And for me, each relationship, platonic and non-platonic, are equally important because I thrive and sustain energies through my platonic relationships. However, they are also as important as my romantic relationships because they drive me further. And I can't separate the two. I can't pick one versus another. I can't rate one versus other, the hierarchy which you were talking about. Because I'm struggling for a lot of time, where do I put this? What does it mean as a hierarchical society? I think that also is very interlaced with caste conversations, which I would also like to understand more. Because I think as a person who is not able-bodied, who has both physical disability and invisible disability, how does that work like? Because the impairment due to the disability is very real. And the intergenerational inheritance of the impairment is also very real. So how does that conversation work? I've also navigated these conversations with a lot of my clients and similar conversations. Like largely everyone come to me with these relationship questions that as a queer person, I'm unable to leave my partner. And like I want to clean swipe off of the slate. I'm still going back to them. And like darling, I'm also doing it. I've been doing it for the last 10 years. So, like, the fact that we can't really have the same case like Wyckoff thing, like how a straight person would operate because of the existing familial networks, other networks that they come from. And I think that's very important to also observe and think about when we navigate, you know, queer relationships as a neurodivergent person. Like to hear your thoughts.
So I think all the I don't know to say happy aspects or the things that are easier, like it's not easy, but I just I want to highlight that with autistic people specifically, the incident for abuse, interrelational abuse is so high. so many autistic people that I've met through the support group or just generally with friends. A lot of them have been in relationships that have been extremely abusive, and it's always come out that they've come to this realization that it was abuse many years later. That like I always joke that when I go for a particular class or a panel, anything, someone tells me something, I say like it gives me 2 to 4 business days to just process what's happening. And even when I was in an abusive relationship, I just could not understand that it was abuse. It took me many months later to process that this is something that's abuse that's happening. So there is that one specific thing because your sensory stimulus is constantly overloaded from your environmental factors. So when you're in a relationship, often because of the similar focus that autistic people have, that becomes the focus. Even if you have friendships, even if you have other familial relationships, which then becomes lesser when you are a trans person, non-binary person. You might not have your birth family to rely upon. You might not always have friends. You might be moving to different cities. You might not have colleagues, co-workers. All of these support networks that we often take for granted. And then when you have someone who you think like sees you, that person becomes like a focus and you tend to kind of latch on. So the incidence for abuse is always higher. Right? And then it becomes that to even go and to seek therapy and help or even to tell your friends, it becomes difficult because for a lot of autistic people who are educated, who are self-diagnosed or learning, they also understand what abuse means. And they're often ashamed to even go and seek help. To even say that I am in this situation, right? And the incidence is obviously like higher when you're younger. Um, and as you grow older, you might just get better at drawing boundaries, not better at necessarily picking on someone who's the one who's like don't know if that concept makes sense anymore. Um, but that is one particular thing I wanted to like talk about. And another is the idea of caste, right? We understand like to go in certain spaces with partners where class might be a boundary. But even within caste, the idea is how do you form relationships that is essentially with your oppressor? How can you navigate this intergenerational trauma that you might not heard about, you might not have read about it, but it's something that is coursing through you through your body. And to make allyship itself is so difficult. Then to form intimate relationships, even if that's friendships, I'm not even talking about sexual relationships. Just to form intimate relationships, friendships is so hard. Like uh, I've had friendships that have broken and not being repaired because there's something that's just not able to navigate. And it's often the person who is upper caste and savana who tell me that there is this gap, and I can sense it and I know it, but I don't know what to do about it. And this is not, of course, the burden of a singular person. It's something that's happened with ancestry, but we don't know, we have no way of, no one's teaching us this. Like our parents are not sitting with us and having these dinner table conversations of how do you sit with somebody that we have oppressed as a family, right? And how can you leave these changes? That is not happening. It's happening now in like papers, in where at least with like Akin Khan's work when he's talking about caste in relationships. Um, but it's happening here, but when I see the world, it's so vast. Like the gap seems almost like will not be filled. And another last thing was about asexuality. Like at least I think from a decade ago, now this idea of sex positive, kink positive, so many events that are happening in cities for um, especially like sex positive things, right? which is so much. And that I feel that's happened because it's able to be capitalized in such a way. And asexuality is not being able to capitalize. Like you can't throw an event and be like, oh, asexual is coming, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to sit and talk? Which is not sellable. But asexuality again is also very, very closely, and I struggle with this labels. I've gone between pansexual and asexual because for me, my concept of gender is also nature and opposite. Where I don't understand what gender is. Like if you ask me boy, girl, trans, non-binary, what do you think someone else's gender? I don't know. I don't care if they're wearing clothes. I don't care if they're naked. So their body also doesn't make sense to me. But with asexuality, there is such it's not a stigma, but it's something that feels like it's there, and you're not able to transcend this particular barrier of connecting with another human. Which is often what autistic kids struggle with. Like, how do you just talk to another person? How do you form friendships? How do you even just say hi, hello, which I still struggle with. Like I still struggle with saying hi, hello, smiling. These sort of social niceties don't come to me at all. And I feel like that's so closely linked with asexuality that your sensory stimulus itself is so much. Either you want too much or you want too little. And you can't have like a diary that you can give to another person. Like these are days when it's just not possible. And I really do feel that, like, as I said, that these conversations about asexuality within, and these conversations need to happen also with autistic children. In what way, I do not know, because there's so many things I still don't understand. But I hope that, since so many things have changed, that this is also something that we move towards. So, yeah.
Thanks for sharing this thought.
I just want to add one thing. I had partners in the past who were asexual, and so there was a lot of diversity within asexualities, where some of them are sex repulsed, some of them are sex favorable, and some of them are sex neutral. So if sometimes they desire wanting to be in a sexual relationship, but they don't necessarily want to have sex. Sometimes people desire wanting to be in a romantic relationship, but they don't really want romance. That also is a possibility within, aromanticism and asexuality. And I remember sitting with my partner and talking about why is it that sometimes I don't feel like I'm asexual because I know I can feel that sexual connection towards somebody. And this made me go down the rabbit hole. And I came across a research paper that said that a lot of autistic people do experience hypersexuality. That then makes them question their asexuality because their sexual needs are limited. And fulfilling those desires, whatever they experience, and having safe spaces to explore that also then becomes important in how they can explore their sexuality beyond these labels that they have, picked up. So yeah, I just wanted to add that. That's all.
Definitely, I think an important addition there. Yeah, you can also.
It's really funny part to say that there are jokes about how what is sexual people do and who is their talking. The thing about asexuality is that it's just that so how we just spoke about think spaces and how the thing with think spaces is that there are structures, there is safety behavioral tolerance, there is constant, asking, checking in, if this is okay, that is okay, not okay, that is okay, not. That the safety that comes with that does not come in traditional social spaces. It does not come in neurotypical spaces, right? And that is what is that you can't you think that it's going to be like things are only for example things and all that. It's not that. Things are not just only sexual, non-sexual things like that. There's safety around that and there's safe words around that. Also safe person can be for space for sexual things. Safe person can also be for social interactions or some basic needs that we might have or basic sort of food that we might have or something that has to do with conversations. Just So that's why the divisions and categories will always make sense to me that they are right. And there's this coaching, this talking about studying with high and low power and all, right? There's an expectation that comes with things, there's that burden that comes with things, right? And this kind of navigating that is so like I don't know, wonderful in its own sense. It's really it's less burden in that sense. I think that's the kind of space that I come from with my friends and work space that they come from as well. So
A lot of thoughts in mind as well. So again, I also want to bring in the fact of AMAC violence. So as an AMAC person who's been exploring sexuality right from day one, so the idea of exploration of things was largely riddled with added with non-safety. And also as someone with undiagnosed autism, I always struggle with the first stage concept, right? So what do you do in a date? What are you going to talk? What are you going to communicate? Other than sit with the other person? And what happens in the violent aftermath of this? Like these conversations that keep happening over and over again. And then you also are conflicted with the fact that, let's say, some relationship is sustaining. Then you're always in a perplexion whether, oh, is it real? Is this supposedly happening? You know, the identity crisis of a relationship in itself, the lifetime of a relationship, and the aftermath of it. All of it again driven through neurodivergence. Because I don't think we can separate the sexual attraction and that neurodivergence here because they're not very closely tied. And the idea of looking at CPTSD in this context as well, for someone who has experienced sexual violence, also someone like me who's also very sexual, right? Because I experience sexual attraction in flavors. Sometimes I'm attracted, sometimes I'm not. There are periods where I'm open to sex, there are periods where I'm open to romance. So there's not a monolith again. That you're going to be romantic once, you're going to be sexual at a time. It's not as such. Or not really decided time of the day, like the show in certain Indian movies about how this is how it's going to work out, it's going to play out. And I'm very curious, like when you think about these papers and research, how does it apply in an Indian context where there's so much of pressure of X, right? The idea of sexual propagation again coming in through caste, which you need to really think about. And I would love to, like also think about these intersections in maybe literature or any papers that could also help us unpack this violent conversations for autistic individuals as well. Yeah, great. Uh, so that brings us to the next question. Uh, so this is about with the Pride Month just ending now and exposing the challenges of conversion therapy with the institutions and the long ensuing barriers and battles to address this as mental health advocates and European individuals. Can you also shed some light on this important topic of conversion therapy?
Uh, I have friends who have been through this experience, and very recently I had a friend from Kerala who is working with a trans woman who's 19-year-old. Um, and it was a very tough journey because the parents are constantly trying to, get the child back to stay with this cisgender identity that they have given the person. And at the same time, there's so much inner struggle the person himself is going because a psychiatrist who knows better than him is telling him maybe I'm not a woman, maybe I'm acting like one. And then forcing ideas of you're just faking it. But also real and it's still happening after all the policies and laws and for gender affirmative policies in Kerala where they also give you loans to do surgery, housing facilities, ID cards and whatnot. And I also remember like while going through the trans policy in Karnataka, they talk about how government hospitals need to have separate washrooms for transports. Cannot put a you know EMAM who still not access surgery in your nail wall. As simple things like that. It erases, but it also is actively causing harm. And then the question is, if I need psychiatric help, is it safe for me as a trans person to then access this space? So it's limiting a person's accessibility when our policymakers are not doing their job in enforcing, but also bringing a new set of policies as we evolve. Yeah, this is something I want to share.
Yeah, so with conversion therapy, I'm not somebody who's, um, I don't have the experience with it, but I know people who have had it, and with the recent incident with that Kerala that you were mentioning. So there's a report which said in Kerala the incident of conversion therapies are 42% as compared to the US where the incident is just about 3 to 4%. And this is a huge gap, right? Like even to think about that you have conversion therapy which is still happening, um, and even after like a ban on conversion therapy, and that's largely and this question came up in one of the discussions where we were talking about how there is a contribution because of religiosity. And most conversion therapy occurs because there is some sort of religious, whether it's evangelical Christian, whether it is faith-driven practices like Islam, Christianity, or even specifically like again like in places like Kerala, where it's both like Christian and Islam, and also certain Hindu caste practices where you believe that having some way of transcending your gender, which again relates to sex, right? For example, yogis have a very strong, even though yogis are gender beyond the gender binary, but they have the practice where they're blessed by um, the god Jangama, and they're not supposed to have sex. They're supposed to abstain from sex, right? And this is, and of course, there are people who still have sex, and all of these happens. But within that tradition, you are chosen by God, and therefore you have this assumption of purity, and you are in service to God, which is so similar to so many of the earlier Greek traditions, which had these virginal women for God or particular deities. Right? And that is again where I'm also like thinking back to like again this processing thing that I talked about this asexuality thing, right? Like I'm very cautious about any event that is talking about sex positiveness because the accessibility for that when I see what's happening in cities or even like small basic things that are happening in tier 2, tier 3 cities, they're mostly accessible to a particular class. And to enter these events, it's about 1,500 rupees. And I'm like, who has this money to even do this? To go to a place to access the safe space. Which is also why I think that with asexuality, if someone were to capitalize on it, I don't know how they would. On what they would do because it doesn't seem like a very prospective thing to sit and talk about even things that are non-sexual. But it's like the first time I talked about it was with a partner. It was not with my friend, even though I studied psychology. It was not in college. I didn't talk about it that way at all. So I feel like this we looked at conversion therapy in a very medical lens of what is done to the body, what is done to the brain, all of the practices that you have when a certain part of your physical and physiology is affected, but we don't really look at what is contributing to this, which is a certain religious fascism, which is, I I'd also say with Kerala especially to be considered a progressive state and still indulge in this kind of approaches, right? And they're one of the most casteist states to also like exist. And I feel there is a link there. Of course, there's no study, but this is just from my own sort of personal observation, being proximity to the state. So, yeah.
Uh, So, like, while you were talking about all of this, I was just thinking about like how there are days when I am feeling absolutely numb with regards to any kind of like hurt that we give to each other as human beings, and then there are some days when I'm so terrified of the fact that people just okay things like conversion therapy or like conversion therapy and just these short treatment that people have got into these places and just how does the person just like okay hurt somebody so badly and so just and like that kind of space just we're actively trying to have conversation, kind of actively trying to work on ourselves, so just accepting who we are and giving space to explore and it's okay to explore things that you had one identity at first, then again you go to another identity, changing your mindset from others and having that space of acceptance is so hard to find and then you find that finally, it just brings so much of like peace and like so much contentment within who you are. Yeah, that's most of what I can say.
And thanks for sharing these important conversations as well. It's quite like as you rightly said, right? It's important to also understand the nature of religion and how it is the major source of grief in this case. And also understand the intersections of grief and how they play in terms of enforcing conversion therapy exists as a vehicle of violence. Um, so again, I've been working in chronicling stories of conversion therapy in these same conversations. I keep getting the people approach to get hormonal therapy, against their bodies, which is then you like live with the grief for years altogether because your body doesn't recover, aging accelerates, there's so much of violence that happens. ECT is another space altogether. And then there are those other minor forms shock therapy where people are forced to watch images one after the other. And the sheer fact that, like someone who's worked in crisis intervention, the sheer fact to be able to recover people from their natal homes and also check, on the adults. What happens to children, who are still under the law, restricted to their parents' homes, the natal homes? How do we ensure the safety? It remains an open question. With that, I think we'll wrap this time because we are slightly over time. Uh, yeah, thank you for both of your time and also the class time. Any questions from the audience? Give it off to the moderator.
Does anyone have any questions or thoughts about the discussion? We can share any comments or any observations are also welcome.
I understand that a lot of what you shared here took a lot of vulnerability, and so sharing in these public forums, what are some practices that um, you take up in order to also take care of yourselves throughout, like especially sharing in spaces like this? Thank you so much for being so vulnerable in this space, and what are some things that help you?
Is there anybody else who would like to ask any questions to the panelists or any observations to make?
Um, what would how your family can help you in this journey? Because for them also it's everything given, right? Apart from few resources or internet, what else can the parents do to help? How can a family help? Let's say there's a child who's neurodivergent and adult. My brother recently got diagnosed with autism. He's 33 years old. He doesn't have sensory issues like my son, but he had this a little delay in response, a little difficulty in terms of languages, cannot form relationship, girlfriend, peers, all these difficulties that now I know because I did my research on autism, because my son is autistic. I did not know during that time when I was growing up with my brother. And I helped him how much ever I could at that point of time. But he's struggling more now. Now he's married, he has a kid, he has a kid. Now it's very difficult for him to form a good relationship with his wife. I tried to find a counselor, psychologist for him. But what we do is we go and for some time and then we get disinterested and stop doing it. Again, I try to help him reach out and do something how much ever I can in my power. But there's so many things that I also do not understand why and how can I help.
So I think the first thought I had was essentially also listen to your brother in that context because it's such a personal journey that they are living through. And also like understand with empathy because the person still continues to be your brother irrespective of their autistic identity. So how can you as a like as a sibling create that safety for them in these conversations? That's one thought. And alternatively, also understanding the idea of support is also not unidirectional, where there is a power hierarchy that you know better over the other person. To also step away from that notion and to think that like you would explore a journey together in this context. I think that level of openness can also help build the trust, build the conversations forward. Um, uh,
So support on one space or family space is one thing, but also is it possible to have a community or a support group where your brother and son can have a space within the same place, you could talk to other people also who are in the same place. Can really help with it. That is something that can be done.
So I think, yeah, I agree. So every autistic person's manifestation of autism is very different, right? Which is one of the most important things that can help is to have a support group, right? You know, they were saying that you're able to talk to other people who are experiencing, and they might not experience the same thing, but you just have somebody who, like for example, in the support group that I have, one person put a message of like we saw something or we're going through something, and people will respond literally 6 months later because that's the amount of just like effort it takes. Like in fact today I had a friend who has not replied to me in 3 years. And I was joking and we were really close when I was in college. And I was joking that like I understand neurodivergence, like I have it, but this is just quite terrible. But when you're saying about initiating, right? The other person may be initiating, but not in the way that you understand, right? And they need maybe specific ways that it needs to be supported. And those ways is something that if they're not able to come up with by themselves, there are other people, I'm not even talking about therapists or psychiatrists, I'm just talking about having support groups where if they meet other autistic people, they might be able to better communicate to you or if they're in some way communicating to you, whether at a dinner table, like my suggestion would be to have small rituals every day that could be even with, like, say, prayer. It could be with having dinner table conversations, making breakfast, going for a walk. Some ritual that's repetitive every day that you'll be able to spend with this person. Because at least in my experience, I find that repetition for me is comforting about and that stability really matters inside the game.
To answer your question, you asked is about like what we do in terms of dealing with that vulnerability and stuff. So this is my first time talking in a public forum about my identity and things like that. And my friends is like the greatest support, the greatest comfort that I have. So that is one thing. Second thing is being my little identity. So that has been great. And
So in my case, I largely rely on my support network as well. Like I'm planning to meet my friends afterwards. We like just chill with them. Also like your self care. And for my notebooks, I usually rely on writing as a means of self care. Also as a means of reflection to know when I'm stressed. So
I don't know if this is going to be relevant to, but just like I mostly end up like reading other people's work. That is one of the biggest ways that I'm able to like connect because I've also like just new to the city and most of the times when I travel or when I'm in places where I can't like network, I do tell them like send me papers so I can read it. Mostly with like reading Baba Sahib and Adidas, and like that's the comforting. Even though they're not talking about anything with like neurodivergence, with gender, sexuality, actually none of those things. But I also recognize traits of this when I read their writing. So that's sort of.
Was really, really insightful, and all the thoughts that you shared, I'm sure that it helped us think a little bit more about how to make the spaces more inclusive. Audience members, if you have questions and thoughts, please feel free to have a chat with the panel members later. Thank you so much. Yeah. We'll move on to our open mic performances. So we now have Dhruv with us who's going to play the keyboard and sing for us.
check, check.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dhruv Shadi, and I'm going to sing Naja Kayab Naja by Mohammed Rafi from the movie Hamda Futu. Mere Hamda Mile. Naja Kayab Naja Naja My name is Rupam Shawty and I am representing Allinclusive Traveler Dubai Sanford Seaport.
Thank you for that wonderful performance, Dhruv. Can we have a round of applause for Dhruv? The next set of performance is by Abhin and Abhin, who are also going to sing for us. Can we have them on the stage?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abhi, and this book is Hello. Hello. Hi, good evening. My name is Abhi. Today we are going to play a song from the book. I was just a dream, walking on the snow. In the past, like a mouse, starting playing ball. I like to do the things like the shit the play. Playing against me while we used to shit. And one day, I saw a terrible sight. It goes from the